Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good. You're still alive. I like that. So one of the interesting things that Dan mentioned earlier was about TweetUp Kalamazoo. And I was actually with a couple of old friends in the room. And I asked them, how did we meet? I cannot remember for the life of me, how did I meet you? And they were like, I think it was Twitter. I think it's Facebook. I think it was at some meetup. I don't know which one. So a lot of the different stories I was recapping with a couple of different people were all through social media. A lot of what my community that I've developed came from social media. So today, one of the things I'm talking about is community engagement through social media. I've interacted with a lot of businesses and a lot of individuals on different capacities about how do you engage people on social media. Here's the first thing. When people hear the word social media, they get stuck at the technology side of it. Do I use LinkedIn? Do I use Twitter? Do I use Facebook? Should I be on Pinterest? Should I be on Instagram? Or is it Hootsuite? What technology do I do? What is a hashtag? What's a tweet? People get all clouded up into the whole technology side of things that they forget that community engagement and social media, the key thing is social. So earlier I mentioned media. That's where people get stuck at. The key thing you should be focusing on is actually social. So this is where I'm going to share a couple ideas and thoughts from my personal life about why social is more important in the word social media. It builds up the word community for me. So one of the things I was talking to someone earlier. Sorry, I've been catching up with a lot of people today, and I said, I haven't seen you in a long time, and where have you been? Well, I've been finding a job somewhere else. I'm over here. But one of the interesting stories I was talking to someone earlier was how they got started and those resources helped them develop where they are today. So for example, one of the examples mentioned earlier was TweetUp Kalamazoo. What I did was actually I brought different people from different walks of life together. I mean, other than meeting each other face to face, all these people were from different walks of life, whether it's a homemaker, a business development person, a salesperson. What I wanted to do was just bring them together to form a community to do something important for Kalamazoo. So it turned out as something as simple as building a small little community, and then I had to start managing this community. But what it was more about was about connecting people to different ideas. Everyone had a cool idea that came to the event, whether it's online or offline. So let's talk a little bit about engagement here. There are 5 things I wanted to share with you, 5 different concepts about how to maintain this engagement. And I'll talk a little bit about all the different examples I just mentioned earlier, TweetUp Kalamazoo, etc. One of the key things about engagement is actually personalizing the people that you're talking to, whether it's online or offline. We always forget that, like I said, we always get caught up on the whole media side of things, but there's individuals behind that Twitter account, that Facebook account. There's individuals there that have interests, they have passion, something drives them every day to do what they do every single day. It's about taking that time to gather that information, to get to know that person, because that is the foundation of building a relationship. That's where the foundation starts off, connecting someone to another great idea. The next thing is about staying attuned to those ideas from different individuals. As you keep listening to each individual, you'll start to see connections. Someone might say, I'm interested in starting an initiative or a project for something, and you hear it from someone else as well, but these 2 people don't know each other. You could be the connector of those 2 ideas, and that's the starting of developing a community and making that connection, building those engagement opportunities. So earlier, one of the things we were talking about was TweetUp Kalamazoo. TweetUp Kalamazoo was something that blew out of proportion. It was just 2 people, basically Carl and myself. Carl, if you're in the room, you're in the soundboard over there. We just met up at the coffee shop and said, hey, we just need to use social media to get a bunch of people together and do something awesome in Kalamazoo. Make an impact, make an impact. We didn't say what or how or what exactly that impact would look like, but we just said, let's start one and see where it goes. So I remember that first day when we were talking about this, I said, wow, we saw a lot of different people. It was not just business people. It wasn't another stuffy networking business event. It wasn't a loud house party, not the one that you see on Village Drive, but it was a bunch of people who were just genuinely interested, who had a lot of passionate ideas, and just wanted to meet other people who had the same passionate ideas. And who knew, from that one meeting opportunity, a lot of people started connecting. One person I was catching up with today, Ryan, who started up TweetUp Kalamazoo. One of the ways I met him was actually I was working at the Chamber of Commerce, and our CEO mentioned, hey, there's this kid from college who's interested in starting this thing called TweetUp Kalamazoo. Are you interested in following up? And I said, you know, that's interesting. I know a very good entrepreneur in my group called TweetUp Kalamazoo, and his name is Carl. Probably should tell him about it. And lo and behold, somehow he got connected on Twitter, talked to Ryan, and Ryan said, you know, let's talk more about it. And then Carl invited him over to TweetUp, one of the few TweetUps, and they met in real life. And ever since then, I mean, Carl has been a big, big player and resource in the startup zoo scene and started pulling other people into it. That's how communities are formed, and that's how they stay engaged. It's the connections that are made, the relationships that develop from those different interactions. And that's one of the key concepts I was going to talk about as well, making that connection. The fourth piece was about introductions. It's already awkward enough to interact with people in real life, especially if you don't know them. Sometimes you just need that ice to be broken. It's like, it's hard to take that first step. Some of us are natural social butterflies and some of us are not. But if you are that kind of person who strongly believes in that connection, feel free to help people make that introduction. It doesn't mean like you have to pave the way completely for them. It's just as simple as, hey, Dan, you need to meet Joe. He has the same idea as you do. You two should talk about it. Just that brief introduction and just walk away and see what happens. That's how cool things and ideas develop. Just connect the people to create those ideas, to let them unfold on its own naturally. The other thing I wanted to share with you was Social Media Week. This is one of my favorite ideas that was born out of several different ideas. One of the key things was people wanted to create this thing called Social Media Week. What they wanted to do was feature everything about Kalamazoo, its local offerings, its foodie, its culture, everything about Kalamazoo in this 1 week compression, but also at the same time to recognize the different social media mavens in town, people who are taking Kalamazoo by storm, managing communities, connecting them to different ideas. And we took that opportunity through Social Media Week. It was very cool because everyone who participated in developing these weeks, and we've done it twice now. This year was the second time. All the people who came together to help out with this event were very passionate about specific things. The one thing we had in common was we all liked social media. That was pretty much it. We all liked social media, and we were total geeks for BuzzFeed and all the other fun Tumblr, Reddit, you know, the resources for the hips content lately. So social media was born out of ideas from different people. I mean, here's a good example of the KIA, a girl winning a beer from Bell's, a Bell's tour. I mean, these were people who just came together and said, show me what Kalamazoo has to offer. And we brought all these different people in, people I don't even know, showed up for these events to learn more about what we were trying to talk about, which is Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo has a lot going on, and we use social media as a way to convey those different types of features. Last but not least, this was a very cool story that I was talking to Jeremy. Jeremy's from Rhino Media, and we were just catching up really briefly just now. And I said, you know, one of the key things about engagement is expanding your network and asking others for connections of other people who are interested in similar ideas. And he shared with me the story about his wife who's a coach for a sports team. And one of her students or players didn't have a pair of shoes, a good pair of shoes to perform the sports team. And all he did was submit it on Facebook and said, hey, does anyone have a spare pair of shoes size 6 or something like that? And within 30 minutes, he said, 3 people volunteered 3 new pairs of shoes. I mean, that's really impactful. But the key thing about what made that successful was the connections that he had made with those different people on his Facebook group. I mean, most of you probably by now have a Facebook page of your own, right? Okay, I'm assuming. But the people that you connect with on Facebook is your community. Those are your friends, your families, the people that you've connected with. Those built your community. So whether you're doing it for business, you're connecting people to an idea, or doing it for yourself with your friends, you're still managing a community that provides access to connection and to information. When I talk a lot about connector, one of the things that reminded me of was Malcolm Gladwell's book called Tipping Point. And one of the foundational concepts that he was talking about was the connector. I love this concept because the way he describes the connector is someone who has a great ability to make a lot of friends and acquaintances across different backgrounds, social, economic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, and just the ability to make that connection between one circle of friends to another circle that have never met with each other and have no way of connecting with each other at all. Every single person has that ability to be a connector. Every single person. You know, if you think you're not a social media butterfly or a social butterfly in general, you don't have to be, because it takes one simple question. You just need to ask. You need to learn what people's interests are and then make that connection. You know, especially now you have social media, it makes it even easier to break the ice to connect with people. It's not cold calling on the phone and saying, hey, would you be able to help me out? Now it's more of the access and mass quantity of reaching out to people very quickly, which is absolutely amazing. So last but not least, at the end of the day, if you forget everything I said today, and that's okay, is to focus on these two keywords highlighted: engagement and social. Sometimes media like Facebook will change on you. So you have to relearn all the features. Where is my homepage? Where are my photos? Where are all these different things I'm used to? That doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, it's the relationships that you built with people, and that's how you build a community, and that's how they stay engaged. People are invested in the relationships that they've made, and that's how they stay engaged, because they care about something. They care about people. They care about why you had a bad day. They care about why you're interested in developing something important in Kalamazoo, because passion and interest is so infectious that you're just blown over by it, that you just want to carry on that same infectious feel. And because of that relationship built, any type of community engagement that you do is so impactful. So much more impactful than just sending an email blast out. It's because of those relationships. So that's pretty much all I have to share with you today. Thank you so much.